Shavua Tova Gudvach, since we're about to celebrate Yud Beis Tammuz, the 12th of Tammuz, the freeing of the previous Rebbe from his infamous arrest and death sentence, and many things still led to his freedom in 1927. So I want to share a story that happened during the previous Rebbe's lifetime, not directly connected at all to his arrest and his freedom. But he was a younger man. There was a terrible decree being prepared by one of the ministers of the Tsarist government, and the Rebbe Rashab told his son, the previous Rebbe, that he has to go there and do whatever he can to cancel the decree. And he went, and he was not very successful. He returned and said, I tried everything. And his father said, you have to go till Mesiras Nefesh. So he returned, and he discovered that the minister had a professor who had at one time been very influential, and he struck up a friendship with this professor and eventually revealed to him what his goal is. His goal is to somehow cancel this decree that's going to be very difficult for the Jews of Russia. And the professor said to him, I have very little influence on him now, and he's become a very different person, as an evil, and I don't have any influence. There's nothing I can do about it. The only way I can help you is I have a lifetime pass that gives me access to the buildings, the ministry, wherever this guy works, and I'm willing to risk, myself and give you that pass and do with it as you might see fit. So the previous Rebbe thanked him, took the pass, and made his way into this ministry building. And of course, he was the only Jew, the only chassid, the only person who looked like he did when he went into that building. But the pass passed muster, and it was accepted, and he was allowed through all the doors. And he finds his way down to the office of this minister, with many miracles on the way. And he gets into the empty office, he goes to the drawers, and he finds the decree, and it's just waiting to be stamped. And there's two stamps he finds on the desk. One stamp is approved, the one stamp says not approved. So the Rebbe took the not approved stamp and he stamped the entire decree, and he put it in the file, the section of things that are processed already. And in this way, he was able to successfully cancel that decree. And at great risk, as his father said, that's what you got to do, because it's not for yourself. We don't risk our lives for ourselves, but to risk your life for the benefit of the Jewish people. That's what a leader is, and that's what the previous Rebbe did in that story. But I wanted to share two other stories, a little bit in my mind connected. One is, when the previous Rebbe was just 17 years old, his father, the Rebbe Rashab, traveled out of the country, and when he returned, he had a gift for his son, and it was a walking stick with a fancy head. It was an expensive walking stick, and the Rebbe mentioned to his wife that he had given out his last coins to buy this stick. And she wondered and said, why was it so important to spend every penny to buy a gift for your son? What was the big deal? And the Rebbe said, I traveled in many places, and I saw many people, many Rebbes, and I saw their children, and then I realized what a treasure we have in our son. And therefore I was inspired and overwhelmed with an urge to buy him a gift and let it be obvious how much I appreciate him. Now I really see some of his value. And this is where I want to go, about seeing the value in others. One of the Rebbe's shluchim from way, way back was Rabbi Moshe Yitzchak Hecht, who was sent by the Rebbe to New Haven, Connecticut, where he was very successful in establishing a community and a school, and it was on the cutting edge of everything. But like many places, there's challenges and financials among them. And at one point, he was so overwhelmed, they wrote a letter to the Rebbe wanting to resign from the shlichus, and perhaps the Rebbe would choose someone with more talents and able to deal with the situation better. And the Rebbe's response was, it seems to me that you haven't yet met someone who has been given those abilities. And his name happens to be Moshe Yitzchak Hecht, which is, of course, the Rabbi Hecht. And the ability of a Rebbe to see in a person their abilities more than they may see themselves, and rely on them to tap into those abilities and turn the world upside down, that's what the Rebbe believed in us, and we have to live up to that. Let's believe in ourselves and do great things. Have a great week.